and nice.
And you know what you should do instead of Coke? You should do Magic Mind. Because Magic Mind will lock you in so much better than the Coke.
I don't know if this is the comparison that I wanted to draw. I don't know.
Good one though, man.
Oh my God. Sweet Derek, are we live?
We are live, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. This is the Naturals Pod.
Welcome to this episode of the Naturals Pod. As always, I'm Uncle Kyle, respectfully seated next to me, not on the sticks, Sweet Derek, the producer, and we are coming to you in 4K.
Ooh,
we have
4K
upgraded our gear, people. We got a really nice camera now, so we're hoping you can notice the difference. You know, I'm glowing. Might have to throw on a little makeup, get beat before I go on camera like a news anchor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we're doing big things. We appreciate all the love and support that we've been getting from you guys, whether it be DMs on the social media or in the comments. It's awesome, and we appreciate you, and we are doing this for you, so you can see this gorgeous face in 4K.
And don't get us wrong, we love doing it as well.
Absolutely.
But you just help us move this and drive this along even more and make us work harder because of you guys.
Correct.
And thank you so much for listening, and let's keep spreading this thing, man. Let's
keep
go, Natty
doing it.
Nation. Tell your friends. Tell your family.
Let
tell
'em
your
know.
grandma.
Let them know.
Tell your grandpa.
Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Spread
get
it,
us in
spread
there.
it, spread it, yeah.
We got a really, really funny story for you today from the vault. This predates Boots Boobs Booze.
It does.
Say that 20 times fast.
Boots, 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 boots.
Triple B's. Anyways, but this goes back to, God, we had to have been 18 or 19, right?
Yeah, I don't even think we were 21 yet.
No,
when this
no. This was certainly in the
This
in
was
the
with
fake ID era.
Yep, the fake ID era. Yep.
We did that for a couple years. Ultimately, I ended up getting mine confiscated, which was not awesome. And but I didn't go to jail, didn't get arrested. Just had to spend 3 hours with a couple of disgruntled Albertsons clerks one of whom worked in a submarine and said that he had night terrors and sometimes just would go psychotic because he was in an enclosed space for so long. So
that'll be a story for another pod.
Oh,
We'll
man.
run that story for sure too.
it was one in and of itself. But yeah, I think I had literally just finished high school. It was the summer after. It was you, me, and my buddy Corey that I went to high school with. Shout out Corey if you ever watch this. You probably don't have great memories of this.
Yeah.
Which is my
He's gonna
fault,
be the guy
but
that's fuck this guy.
yeah, but I will never, ever forget
Tarantino
this.
in that, right?
So, at the time, it was in the summer. I believe Corey was getting ready to go enlist into the Air Force.
I think he already was. He was ready to be stationed to Alaska. It was right before he was going to be stationed.
I think
So
he had
new,
done basic.
yeah.
He was back here visiting his brother, who, if I remember correctly, I think he hosted or did network management for free porn websites or something. He did something.
I didn't know this. This is news.
Yes,
to me,
he
dude.
did something
What?
web-based that was really lucrative, and he made good money. He had a really nice house. He owned it, and then a couple of his buddies
wow.
lived there with him, and I believe they also were software developers.
Dude,
and then,
I guess, man.
yeah, and then he built custom PCs on the side, which was way before I ever got
Someone
into
made
PCs.
Pornhub, dude, and they're reaping the benefits.
Yeah.
So.
He was a cool guy. He had some strange medical condition where he had chronic migraines and trouble breathing. Really terrible
that
shit.
Sucks. Yeah, that's a bad beat.
It was not good.
But at least he's life made up for another way.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
I haven't talked to Corey in years. He had a chaotic family life. His dad owned a construction company. He lived in a baller house when we went to high school because I would give him a ride every day. For whatever reason, his dad wouldn't buy him a car, and his older brother was gone at that point, and then I think he had one or two younger brothers. But this whole story unraveled because I guess their mom was an alcoholic, and that's why the dad left. But then he got a crazy cocaine addiction and was gambling and also drinking.
Are you sure we should be releasing this information?
I didn't say last names, dude.
Yeah,
we didn't say last names.
Damn,
I mean,
this is
honestly,
dark, dude. This is
that's
a
the
dark
rule of
life,
anonymity.
right?
And no. But I can say with certainty, the people watching this wouldn't know him. That would be the odds of that are very, very low.
true.
And I'm not trying to dig into his past. He rose above that. Him and his brothers kind of took care of one another and got out of that. But what a traumatic story.
That just proves that sometimes money doesn't solve all your problems.
It doesn't. And his dad was a prick too. I have to say that straight out because I feel like I'm pretty respectful when I meet people's families. and I put my best foot forward. But like, if you are just immediately short and curt with me and rude, then kind of fuck you a little bit because I'm being nice.
And you know what you should do instead of Coke? You should do Magic Mind. Because Magic Mind will lock you in so much better than the Coke.
I don't know if this is the comparison that I wanted to draw. I don't know.
Good one though, man. You stay
Oh
away from-
my God. I did not see that coming.
I gave him a zinger, dude. I like when I get you with the zingers.
I'm not going to make that correlation, but I'm going to say I am on week 3 of doing Magic Mind with my morning coffee, and this stuff is amazing. It has officially solidified itself as a part of my routine. I had one earlier today.
And I'm on a couple days now too, man, and I love it, dude. Locked in.
I had one earlier today. I do like to take one a day. It is a little bit late in the afternoon, but if you go check out our last episode, you can see our full review of it. This stuff is great. We have a code, Naturals20. You can save up to 56% if you sign up for the subscription program, because this is something that you want to, if you're someone who has coffee regularly every day, energy drinks perhaps, this is a great supplement to add onto that routine. I'm telling you, you must try it. And as a matter of fact, I think in the future, we're probably going to do another Money Monday competition. If you follow us over on the Instagram, we'll have Sweet Derek throw that up here. But also, as a part of that giveaway, because Magic Mind is awesome, they sell 5-packs on Amazon if you just want to try it for a week and dip your toe in and see how you like it. We're going to give away at least 1, possibly 2 of those 5-packs, as well as some cash, just to get you guys into this so you can give it a try, because legitimately, I cannot recommend this enough. It is fantastic.
Yeah, again, Naturals20 for at least 20% off. You do the description, get up to 56% off. Again, we appreciate you. Magic Mind. But let's hear the story again, bro. So let's get back into this, dude.
So
anyways,
at this point, Corey was back visiting. He was getting ready to get stationed in Alaska, which coincidentally, I did see him later in Alaska when I was in Alaska. That's the weirdest run-in ever.
Whoa, yeah, that is
I
weird.
just so happened to be in Alaska. Are you in Alaska? We are.
What? That's crazy, dude. It's like some Inception shit.
Yeah. So anyways, he was home visiting. I don't even know how this started. I just remember that I had watched The Dark Knight the night before. And
great movie.
For the first time, and that movie was fantastic. I didn't see it in theaters. And I know so many people are just going to start shitting on me for this. I'm a big Christopher Nolan boy. I liked Tenet. I liked, oh my God, what's Inception, absolutely. It wasn't on the tip of my tongue. I enjoyed those movies, and if you didn't, then I just feel bad for you. I think
like
they're
them.
Fantastic.
Now, I heard Oppenheimer wasn't that great. Heard it was a little long, kind of stalls. But I haven't seen it yet, so maybe I should be not that judgmental. But I just heard it was his weakest of his.
I enjoyed it. I'm a big Cillian Murphy guy, and biopics or period pieces, if you will, historical movies are boring. For me, at least.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, for me as well.
And I think
it's just kind of
it really played a lot more towards his personal life, which made it a little more intimate. I enjoyed it. If anything gives you the seal approval on this, you've been to movies with my father. You know he is known for falling asleep in movies. He did not fall asleep not a single time, dude. Yeah. Not a single time. So he watched it front to back, and it's a 3-hour movie. So I enjoyed it. Would I watch it again? His movies are just heavy. So probably not, but
true. You gotta like really thinkers, mostly thinkers.
Worth the watch. Yeah. Check it out. Right. I don't know. I wasn't going to do the Barbenheimer thing. We did enjoy Barbie, which was a delight.
Go back and check that review. It's great.
Go check the review if you want to see that.
Also low-key good.
But yeah, I would watch the Oppenheimer. So anyways, we had watched that movie the night before, and I think at that time, because we were so balls deep in playing poker illegally with fake IDs, I was watching Rounders like every other day. That
great movie was on. If you're a poker player, dude, Rounders is the key, man.
You're not a poker player.
You're right.
If you don't know about Rounders, you're not a poker player.
Yeah.
I don't care where you're from. That is a
if you play poker and you haven't seen Rounders, you're not a real poker player for sure. It is like the Bible for poker players. And even low key for people that don't play poker, also a great movie. Ooh, you hitting the Magic Mind.
Yeah, I got a little bit. I got a little bit to do today before we go to bed, so
Kyle opening his mind with the Magic Mind.
I also had mine very early because I had to go take a call. I got a job again. I quit. Now I have a job again.
Congratulations,
we're back.
Kyle. He's back.
Quick on the rebound, straight back to it. You had the guy who was backing you at the time, and this guy's name, I never saw an ID, so I cannot confirm or deny whether or not this is the truth. Government name that he told us was his name, Guido.
Yeah,
Guido.
Yeah, so he met me at the Bellagio. I was playing 5, 10, and 10, 20, no limit at the time. And he offered me. I wasn't even asking for it. And he's just like, oh, I like how you play. He's like, I'd like to back you a little bit in like these games and bigger games. I know private games in
Now,
LA,
to
and
be
this is
fair,
how this comes up.
he was not a Guido. He was, by all accounts, quite nerdy.
He was like a tall, nerdy, older guy, yeah. And he's like, I drive a Ferrari, and like...
But there was like some
Okay.
funny moments that kind of reminded me of scenes from poker movies. I know you hate this, but lucky you, Eric Bana. But like the scene where he goes and visits the guy in the restaurant for the money for the main event. But coincidentally, like when we went, I think you were giving him money because he had fronted you for a session. And you
Yeah, and
had
I
a
was
win,
paying.
and
Yeah,
he
and
was
I was
paying
paying
him
him.
back.
I was paying him back. Yep, I was paying him back plus.
I
the
didn't mean to
profit,
cut you
so.
off, buddy. Continue.
No, it's okay. No, I was just simply saying he knew about private games in LA. That, believe it or not, Bruce Buffer, if you've heard the great Bruce Buffer has played in. And as the story gets on later, you'll hear the other characters that were there. But he invited us essentially because he's like, hey. I know you're
He
usually in
invited
Vegas.
you. I
Okay,
was
true.
invited by you.
He became my plus one. But he invited me to come out to LA, and he said, "Hey, there's really good private games. I want you to come and play in this game. I'll get you a room. I'll hook you up. You'll get all set up. You'll come play poker. We'll chop it up. You're gonna crush this
Quick
game."
aside. This man told us he was getting us a room at the DoubleTree. For those of you that don't know, there are levels to this shit in the temporary housing game as far as like, you know, when you're staying in a motel or a hotel or whatever. That's the distinction. Motel, shitty. I have stayed in nice motels. Hotel, there's certain standards, but it can also be a shitty hotel.
But I would say DoubleTree is one step up from a motel.
Correct.
size.
It's
you're
like
just
it's
barely
like
upgrading.
Seagull Suites, which I don't know if we can
Ooh.
even call that a motel. That's like a weekly or
It's
monthly.
god-awful. Yeah,
Seagull
it's
Suites,
god-awful.
Budget Suites, Hampton Inn. You know, we're
Hampton,
working
yeah.
our way up. But when you get up there, you got your Hyatts and your DoubleTrees. Like they're nice. Like you go to these places, you pay a little bit more, but the expectation is it is nice, and it
Yeah,
is.
they're okay.
That's been
true.
my experience.
That's true. Well, the Hyatts are good. The DoubleTrees are hit and miss.
Shout out
I will
Hyatt
say
in
DoubleTrees
Austin.
are hit and miss.
You're fantastic.
But the Hyatt that we
love
go
you.
to in Austin is a great property.
It is good.
I personally think DoubleTrees are hit and miss. There's nice ones. There's not so nice ones.
I haven't been as many in my life, so I can't really make that distinction. I would just say, in my experience, it's been good. So, he offers us what I would presume is a nice room. Hooray. He offers Derek this. I'm just tagging along. And
we're
by
driving out there,
extension,
too. We're driving out
I had been hanging out with Corey, and he was here for a pretty good chunk of time before he had to ship out to Alaska. So I essentially just talked him into it. I was like, we're going on this trip. We're just randomly
we're making a weekend of
We're gonna
it,
go to
yeah.
California
Be sick.
because the Guido guy had told Derek, hey, I'm
Guido.
playing Guido, that he was playing in a game at the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles, and we were going to meet him there. He was going to get us the room. We were going to go to the private game where he was going to stake Derek, and so on and so forth. So we're driving down there. Corey comes with us. Derek had a pimped out. I mean, when you're in high school, this is like the car you want. It had rims on it. It had a sound system. It had a flip-up TV in the dash.
Oh, yeah, the DVD deck, man.
And it had the little
Yeah.
bypass switch where you could flick it so you could watch TV while you're driving.
Because that shit was
the
illegal, but I had
Dodge,
the
yeah,
bypass
absolutely,
switch. I
but we
loved
got
Yeah,
it. We got
was
the
great,
illegal
yeah.
shit, dude.
And that was the beauty of shout out to working when I was Best Buy in high school. Great fucking high school job, and I got cost plus 10%. So that was like a $3,000 setup that I got for like $1,100.
Yeah, that's
it was
awesome.
Great. It was a
Shout
great
out,
system.
Shout out to Best Buy. We've also purchased quite a bit of our pod stuff from them and had nothing but.
I missed that. I
experiences.
actually missed that car. I got totaled because.
And
someone hit me on
honestly,
a freeway,
speaking of
but-
Best Buy, we had to go get some more material this evening, and there was a young man who was helping us. He was laughing at our just talking back and forth. I said, do you like podcasts? He said yes. I showed him ours, and I immediately saw a sub on the YouTube. So if you're paying
Welcome to
attention,
the Natty Nation.
welcome to Natty
Let's
Nation,
go.
buddy. We're glad to have you here. So we're on the road in Derek's Pimp Daddy mobile. It was a Dodge Neon decked out. We're watching South Park on the way to Southern California. Derek's
show.
talking about how there is this resort, which I believe is on an Indian reservation, correct me if I'm wrong, called Morongo.
Yep, Morongo, it still
where
exists.
you
man.
can play
Still exists,
if
yeah.
you're 18 years old.
18,
So you
correct,
can
'cause it's on
legally
an Indian
play,
reservation,
which
yep.
we were.
Yep.
Yes. And I don't think that was part of the plan. I think maybe because we were just super degens and wanted to play cards at all times, we were like, maybe we'll go to LA and then we'll stop at Morongo on the way back and play some more. That is not how the trip went. So we're driving out. I think we did the obligatory stop in Barstow for some In-N-Out, which you have to do.
I mean, you have to, dude.
If
you're doing that drive and you don't do that, that's like un-American. Like,
correct. If you're driving from California to Nevada or Nevada to California, stop, get you a double or your choice of burger, consume it, and proceed on with your life, being better for having had the In-N-Out burger.
Treat
Don't
yourself.
Shit on
Treat
In-N-Out
yourself.
burger. So we get that. We go into LA. Well, it was a long drive, and I think we drove out there on a Friday or something.
Yeah,
so we
traffic
hit
was crazy.
stupid traffic.
Yeah.
Stupid traffic.
Young kids, our timing was terrible. Too.
Yeah,
It
and
was like,
LA is like a frightening fucking maze. Like, I think even most people that are from there cannot navigate that city as well as I can Las Vegas. I know this city damn near like the back of my hand. LA, how could you? How could you? It's fucking insane.
I mean, the one thing that most people don't know is in Vegas is most streets are like straight. Like, so if you're like a Charleston, it goes all the way through from both sides, both ends. So it's hard to get lost unless you like really go on some crazy things. But LA, yeah, there's so many freeways and there's just so many places you can get lost and you're like, I don't know where I am. We took a wrong turn. Where the hell are we for sure?
So we get to LA, we stop at the Commerce, we walk in with the fake IDs, which we were not trying to show anyone. We were just trying to get in there, meet this motherfucker.
It's just a meet at this point. We were playing there,
and then go. So this was kind of an initial red flag for me because the game that he was staking Derek to play was, some people might not consider them large stakes, but for people who are not professional poker players being played to play the game, it is big, and he would regularly play with internet and live pros, people who do that shit for a living. So we go to the poker room, and first of all, the Commerce poker room was G, and they had like all the Vegas amenities, but it just seemed like that shit was,
it's a big
it
room.
worked better. They had the food service, they had the masseuses, there was plenty of room in between tables. Commerce was legit. I'm sure it's changed 1,000 times over since we were there.
Yeah,
because
back then it was big time, but
half
that was
a fucking
a
lifetime
time
ago.
Yeah.
Like 17, 18 years ago, quite a while ago.
True.
So we see him playing, we go to his table. He was playing 2-5. Derek was playing 10-20, and I think that's how you met him, right? Or playing 5-10, which is still a relatively large game.
I was playing 10-20 at the Bellagio at the time.
And he was playing
and he was
too.
sitting in that game too, yeah.
So clearly this guy has money if he's casually doing that. We were in our fucking demon stage.
I mean, he drives a Ferrari. That was confirmed.
Did you see the Ferrari? Okay, because when we went to LA,
he could have leased it or something or rented it.
I'm thinking that was a fucking rental, dude.
Because there's people that rent in Vegas. You can rent exotic cars and drive them around. So he could have got me with
which
that.
nobody's. First of all, and I got to make a stance here. I'm not hating on you for that. If you don't want to, whether or not you can afford it, buy a car like that and pay the insurance and do all this shit. If you want to rent one for a couple days and drive it around, that's fine. The people that I have beef with are the ones who like take photos with it and essentially represent that they own it.
Which I think that's what this guy did. He
Correct.
Did.
That's what I'm saying.
He
He was being a little douchebag and trying to, which once again, why was he trying to stunt on us like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's still very strange to me.
I mean, clearly he really valued the opinion of a bunch of little boys. I don't feel the same. So we get there. He's playing the lower limit game, and I think he was even getting a massage when we walked up, which was kind of funny. We went over to the other area where they had the big boy games, and I think there was somebody playing 25-50. You know these people more than I do.
Yeah, there's 50, 100, 100, 200.
But they were playing big,
like insane
big
money,
cash money games,
like
and you pointed a couple of them out, which, you know, is just is wild. And I recognize some of them. I am not as into that as Sweet Derek is. So he's basically like, yeah, I'm about to pick up from the game, and then I'll take you to the next spot. So, or no, he was supposed to take us to the DoubleTree. This is where I was like a little pissed off. This guy, once again, LA is a fucking maze, and we are not from there. I'm not familiar with it. The sun is starting to go down, so it's starting to get dark, and we're weaving through freeways. We're getting off. We're taking back streets. We're driving all over the place. I'm like, man, I hope we don't end up dead with our kidneys.
Yeah, because we're following this guy down.
We're following this fucking guy that we don't even know. These are the things that you do when you're young, that in hindsight you're like, dumb. Yeah, and thank God we fucking survived.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Yeah. So we follow this guy to a DoubleTree. We legitimately pull into a DoubleTree. He gets out. We're chilling in your car. He goes in there for 10 minutes because I don't think you even went in with him. He was like, "Oh, I'll
No,
go
I
in and
stayed
I'll
out.
get the room
Yeah,
set
'cause he
up
says
and I'll bring
I'll
the
hand you
cards
the
out."
keys. He's like, I'll bring the
Because
keys.
I don't
Yeah.
think we would have been able to get a room anyways because we're not
Correct.
21
Correct.
or whatever the age limit is for a DoubleTree. How dare you, DoubleTree? Let the children rent, or at least the adults who are not full blown adults.
Yeah,
You know,
I think some
whatever.
hotels you can do 18, but for some reason it was 21 there because I
Well, it's
don't- I
just like
forget
you
that
can't
anymore.
rent a car unless you're 25, but
24,
you could rent a
25,
fucking
yeah.
U-Haul when you're 18.
I know,
So just
it's-
go rent the truck and drive it around.
Yeah, that's strange. weird.
There's memes about that, but you know, I'm gonna also say it. So he goes in, he makes a show. I mean, perhaps he really was trying to get the room, but I'm calling bullshit. He comes back out and he's like, "Hey, I don't know, they didn't have my reservation." Some bullshit to say that I can't get you a room, but he's like, "Let's just go to the game." Because this is the point where like people are showing up. You have to. They have an off-duty LAPD officer, which they did, and he
did.
was kitted. He had
He
body
was.
armor and a gun. God bless you if you were trying to rob this game, because he was prepared.
Yeah, just side point. There are people, and you can look up stories and stuff like that. And then across the country,
The Tank, look it up. The Tank,
if it
it's
still
on the
exists.
internet.
But what I was going to say is a lot of those games get robbed. It is a fact. Like somebody
Correct.
narcs, and then it says, "Hey, there's going to be a lot of money here," and someone comes in at gunpoint and then robs the
Yeah,
whole place. And
it's like that
very
movie
scary.
Killing Them Softly. Brad Pitt, Ray
Yeah.
Liotta.
Yeah, there's
whole bunch of
they've been
people
in
in
mafia
that.
movies and
James
stuff.
Gandolfini, R.I.P.
Yep.
You know, but that one's a perfect example of
Yep.
that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And once again, I want to just spoiler alert. We got through this whole event unscathed. It's literally just a funny story. Really, nothing scary happened. So, can't get into the hotel. We go to the game. We get essentially patted down by this off-duty LAPD officer. We go in there. This place is sick. They had, I want to say, 5 or 6 poker tables. There was big screens on every wall. They probably had sports and movies on. All the dealers were
And
hot
the reason
chicks.
it was
They had a
called the tank
bartender.
is because they had a giant aquarium. If you remember that, There
Yes,
was
yes,
actually an
yes,
aquarium, there
yes,
was
yes,
fish,
yes.
and the dealers were wow.
Models.
They were models. They were like literally like Victoria's Secret level. Like, oh my god. Like,
yeah.
super
And they
cool.
even had their own chips. I wish I would have pocketed one of those and took it because it was cool, but it had like a little
Yeah,
cartoon
yeah.
tank
It
on
did.
it for
that
the
was
tank.
cool.
It
I
was
remember
pretty
that
dope.
now. Yeah, that was.
So we get in there, and I think he had also promised that he was gonna like give you like an initial stake and 2 extra bullets so you could like rebuy into
Correct,
it.
and that changed.
So Derek got into the game. Do you want to take over from here? Or?
No, you're doing good, man. You're crushing it.
So Derek gets into the game. I had not planned on playing. I begin drinking all of the Jack Daniels and Coca-Cola in there.
Oh,
The
my man was
bartender
getting
chick
red.
is hot. And in
Yeah,
hindsight, she definitely knew that we were just kids, man.
Yeah.
So shame on
And you
them
were
for
just
letting us
flirting
be this
and living it up,
debaucherous.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was doing
You
it
were
up.
like,
But in
"Ooh."
hindsight, I'm like, this woman was probably like, oh, you poor little child.
You were like the
But she kept
entourage
feeding
on
them
this
to me.
mission, and you were just living it up. You're like,
Aw,
free
man.
alcohol and hot chicks.
I was having a great
I'm
time.
glad, dude. I'm glad, buddy.
So, about how long would you say you played for before you got tapped? This game, before I got into it, was very tight, would you say? Or
Yeah, it wasn't
Like, you just
it-
kinda
It was
got
funny
trapped
because
a
his
little
whole
bit?
thing was like, "This game's good," and it was not good. It was not
he
good.
essentially presented it that there was a bunch of fish in the game, or people that just suck
Yeah.
and will gamble and do dumb shit. So
and
you
I
can
ended up
take
just
advantage
getting like
of that.
cracked by some bullshit or whatever. I don't like talking about like bad beats too much, but
Yeah, which is fine. I'm not trying to bring
the
up
funny
bad memories,
thing though
buddy.
is, like I said, is there was a B-list actor that was playing in the game, dude.
I mean,
and
we
he
gotta
was-
downgrade him to like a C or a
Okay,
D.
yeah, you're
because
probably
he
right.
was-
You're probably
he's
probably
one
not
of
even
those
B.
guys, and we could probably put up a whole list of them. And no disrespect to them, because some of these are working actors that grind and just have these small little roles, and they make good money and they've done well. Shout out to them.
And he was in Jeepers Creepers too.
Yeah, he was not.
I'm
he
gonna
was
try
not
to
one
look,
of these.
I'm gonna try to look him up because he wasn't like the
I'm gonna
main
look it up,
cast. He's
too.
like
We
an
will
NPC,
find this
but we'll try
guy.
to find
Yeah.
him. He was in Jeepers Creepers too.
He's
And
definitely
he was
like a
playing
named character who was like, Chavis or just some total show
Yeah, there's a
who's
guy,
like,
like,
I'll beat
murked or
the thing
whatever.
up, and then it cuts his head off, and goodbye to Chavis.
I think he is the guy that gets his head cut off in the
Even
back
better.
of the school
That
bus.
makes
I
it
think
better
it
for
is
me.
The guy.
That makes it
'Cause he's
better
like,
for me.
You seen that movie? I'm the dude that gets my head cut off in the school bus, and I'm pretty sure that's the scene.
Oh,
We're gonna have to look up, but
God,
I'm
I
pretty
hope
sure
it
that's
is.
the scene.
So Derek ends up having something unfortunate happen. I have drank a lot of alcohol. At some point, I told Corey, you should just stake me, because he had gotten... Now, before I get into this, I do want to say I feel like a real piece of shit for this. and I have for a long time. Like, I'm not making light of this. This was not my finest moment, but also I did pay him back. I did make him whole. I did. I am a man of my word. I've never fucking stiffed nobody. I always pay my debts. So I was drunk as shit, and I sweet talked Corey into staking me because you got tapped out.
Correct.
And,
My seat was open.
and
now.
he wasn't doing well either. And I think he gave you some bullshit like, oh, I kind of
he got destroyed. So now
he's
exactly. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
so the same bullshit of like lying about getting me a room is now like, oh, I got punished too, so I can't help you out now.
Yeah,
It's
and we
like,
just drove like
okay,
5 fucking hours to be here.
Yeah, it was a nightmare, dude. It was just like, this sucks. I mean, the place was cool,
It was pretty dope.
but it was just overall, it was just a bad taste in my mouth, dude.
So at this
But
point,
he was fucking. You were ripped, dude.
yeah, I was.
And he was like,
destroyed.
I'm going
I drank
in.
a lot, and I was like, I'm gonna
going
fucking
in.
play, dude. So I talked Corey into doing it. He had gotten some signing bonuses for getting in the Air Force, and he was really nervous about it. And I was kind of a piece of shit friend in this moment for goading him into giving me the money. But once again, spoiler alert, I did pay him back, and I do have a funny little bit on that towards the tail end of this story. So he gives me the money. I get in the game. I mean, you'd have to be blind to not know that I was drunk in that situation. Like, there was no playing it cool. They knew. They had witnessed me drinking, and now I'm sitting down at the table. So, I mean, clearly you're a target. Like, people are going to come
you're the
for
target
you.
now. They're
I'm
looking
the
at
target,
shots.
absolutely.
You're the fish. Yeah.
So, our D-list movie star, who I'm praying we can find a clip and or picture of, is sitting next to me, and he's being kind of a little prick and talking shit. And I think he had a watch on, which was probably fake because you ain't that big, homie. Or maybe you spent all your money.
Well, he's one of those guys that was like beyond proud of like his role.
Yeah,
like, he acted like he was
very
a
well could have had
Tom
Ed
Cruise.
Hardy and shit on. He was
he's a douche.
super douchey.
Yeah, mega douche.
So this guy could tell I was drunk, and I think I got ace king one hand, and I played like it was tournament poker, and I was like, I'm all in. And this guy just snaps me off because he wants to get rid of me because I'm drunk. I'm talking shit to him. I'm making fun of him. He was short. Like, I'm going in on him. He's saying, because I told him, I said, you look really familiar. And then he starts naming things that he's been in. And, he's got the Jeepers Creepers credit, but then there's like beachside bonzo dance party and all this weird shit that nobody's seen. And half of them could have been
like
pornos as far as I know.
Shit, dude,
100%. So he doesn't like me, so he wants to get his vengeance on me. Well, he turns over jacks, and I think I ended up spiking an ace or something to win the hand, which was hilarious. But I was also so drunk that I just gave it all back. So now we're in
gambling.
Now we're in real sad boy town, and it sucks. Derek lost. I lost Corey's money. The Guido guy has just fucking abandoned three young men in LA. Didn't he leave at one
he
point
bounced.
too?
We couldn't find him, and he didn't tell us, by the way. And he also was like, "I'll get your room after the game."
This guy was a liar and a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And if you ever see this
Yeah,
Guido, fuck you. But also, we survived.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna drive home.
at this point,
also
I'm
not a good
shit.
decision.
I'm shit faced.
Yeah, I know.
Corey's mad I've lost his money.
Yeah, it's
Derek's bummed that we just got punished. And who would have thought?
And
that
lied
would
to
have
too. I
happened?
was just frustrated because
And
I was like,
lied
at least
to.
we can go relax in a hotel room.
So
Nope,
Derek's
can't even do
like,
that.
we're fucking going home, man. I'm driving us home. And me, I'm shit faced. I'm like, are you okay? And Corey didn't even have a fucking driver's license, so he didn't know. Let me tell you, if you ever see this, Corey, respect me for the fact that I let you drive multiple cars that belong to my family when you never had a license, and honestly, it was scary. He had no clue how to drive.
Shit,
it was not good.
That's crazy, dude.
Like putting a baby in a go-kart, and you're hoping they don't like drive it off a cliff or something. My God. So you had to drive. I was shit-faced. I got in the back seat and passed out. You can hopefully fill in the blanks from here, but he needed to get gas, and then we're lost in fucking LA. And this was before we didn't have iPhones either. No way. I think I had a BlackBerry at the time.
We had phones, but like now it's
not
like
ones
super
with
late
nav.
though. It's like
Yeah.
2 or 3 in the morning or something
Yes.
at this point. So it's
Yes.
just like, and we're not in a nice part of town.
And I'm coming in and out of consciousness in the back seat. He had stopped to get gas, but I just felt us moving around, taking a bunch of turns, and I'm like, what is going on? And at one point I wake up and I look at this giant mural next to us, and it has a Mexican cat pointing out like Uncle Sam, and it says over it, "We are not the minority." And I said, we are not in the right fucking neighborhood right now. This is not a
We
friendly
made
place
the
for three
wrong
little white
turns,
boys.
dude.
Like,
Coming back
no.
to it, dude, you make some wrong turns, you end up in the wrong neighborhood, dude. And I was like, yeah, we need to fucking get out of here, dude.
Oh my
This is
God.
not
And I
good.
could hear, like, I was coming in and out of it, but I could hear you and Corey joking around about shit, and you just being like, where are we? I am so lost. You might have even stopped for directions at one point.
Yeah, it wasn't
But I just
good.
remember you finally got us onto the freeway, and at some point you were like, I can't.
Hey, we
I
live in
can't
simple
drive
times
anymore.
now that you could just pull out an iPhone and Google Map shit. That didn't exist back then.
Oh,
You had to
man.
figure shit out. I was
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah. So we ended up pulling over
We're
into a
not the
Lowe's.
minority.
Into a Lowe's. And Derek's like, I have to sleep.
See, because
I
I was
can't
so
keep
fucking,
driving.
yeah, I was too tired.
So I passed out in the back seat. Him and Corey leaned the front seats back and fell asleep. We get woken up at like 6 a.m. by all the lawn care dudes that are getting ready for their day. And they're like starting all of their mowers and blowers and trimmers and shit right next to the car. And we're just, I think you would even crack the windows because it was a little hot. And we're
Yeah.
just in there. The shittiest sleep. Not only was I hungover,
It was
I was
the
hot.
worst.
I was sweaty.
Probably didn't even get like 2
So-
hours.
We get up, and I think you know, obviously, and with good reason, were kind of paranoid about us sleeping in that parking lot. So I think you were sleeping and waking up and sleeping and waking up. And you just looked at me and you're like, I cannot drive, dude. Like, can you get us home? And I was like, yes, I can. So I think Corey assumed the position in the back seat, sleeping back there, because
did.
he slept
He
like
did.
shit
He
too.
did,
You
yeah.
got in the passenger seat and we're kind of leaning back, going in and out of it. And I'm just driving us home. And I'm like, man, I will never forget this shit ever. We stopped at In-N-Out again, as you do. 'cause
Again,
you
dude,
have
it's a
to.
must.
Win, lose, or draw, gotta get the In-N-Out. When you're
Especially after a
checking
terrible
back
night, you know what?
into
It just eases the
Nevada.
pain a little bit, dude. Just
Oh,
the
it
greasy
did.
goodness of In-N-Out, dude.
So we get back into town. We're all wrecked. We dropped Corey off because at the time he was living the furthest south, so he was the closest on the way in. And then I can't remember. I think I had left my truck at your house, so we drove to your house, and then me, just tired as shit and just defeated and dejected, drove home. So the next day, and I think it was like $500 he had given me, which at the time, even still now, I wouldn't want to just rob someone of $500. But, you know, it was a lot for him. He couldn't rely on his father clearly, and that was money that he needed. So he starts hitting me up and he's like, hey, man, you know, and at the time, because I wanted to live the life of a poker hustler and be Matt Damon from Rounders,
Yeah.
I had like pawned this MacBook Pro that I had gotten for college so many times. Like, I was a high value customer for me. They always gave me top dollar for that because they knew I was coming back for it. That thing was my shit, man. So Corey hits me with some gangster shit and he goes, I need that money back. And probably while I was shit faced, I was like, I'll give you the money, you know, anything
Yeah.
to make it happen.
Yeah.
So he tells me over the phone, I'm coming to get it. You're going to pawn that computer. You're going to give me that computer or whatever, something along those lines. And he showed up at my fucking house
Oh, wow.
with his brother and his brother's friend. And
That's
I
a
just told,
douchebaggy as a
yeah,
friend,
but
man.
whatever. And my parents never found, I mean, Dad will clearly know about this now, but I just went outside and I was like, all right, man, you win. I'll get you the fucking money and I'll go pawn this thing. But I'm like, you got to get out of here. Like, you can't be showing up like this. Like, that's kind of fucked up. Like, I know
he's
I'm
supposed to be your
I
friend,
know I'm
though.
kind of
Yeah.
bad for what I did.
That doesn't-
And you
yeah,
know
that
what?
doesn't
But
mean
I
you're
did make it
fucking
right.
right,
I did
yeah.
make it right. And coincidentally, to bring it full circle, when I took a trip to Alaska 1 or 2 years later and he was out there at the tail end of that trip when I was in Anchorage, he and I met up. This is the part of Alaska that has 24-hour sun and then 24-hour darkness sometimes.
Whoa.
So it was 24-hour
weird.
sun. So we went out at like 4 a.m. and went to Denny's and talked about all that shit and just hung out and had a good time. So hopefully
Oh,
you're
that's
doing
good.
well,
All right. Well,
Corey.
I'm glad to hear it turned around.
I still felt terrible about that, and he did bring it up, but I also was like, hey, dog,
Happens,
I paid
dude.
you back. I was
Yeah.
kind of a shitty friend in that moment.
We were
but
young, man.
it is
Drinking.
what it
Who gives a
is.
shit? It happens.
But yeah, man, I will never forget that night. It was so funny. And honestly, man, I ain't even mad at it. We had a good time. We
It
learned
was
some
an adventure,
lessons.
dude. Yeah.
We didn't die. Nothing scary happened, you know, and it's just
Still
a
an
story,
adventure.
just another story that we can catalog on the pod, man. You'd love to see it.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in to another one. If you have a chance, try out Magic Mind and look out on our socials for the upcoming Money Monday. We're gonna try to get to triple digis on the subscribers on YouTube, which would just be amazing.
Getting so close.
Shout out to our audio fans as well, man. We love you guys. We see that you're still checking in and listening to the episodes. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. But anyways, I'm Uncle Kyle. That's Sweet Derek right there. We are going to see you on the next one, guys.
Thank you guys. Love you guys, Natty Nation. Remember, like,
yeah.
comment, subscribe. Later.
Keep us in your thoughts. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Naturals Pod. Please remember to follow us on your Twitter and Instagram accounts at the Naturals Pod. Do you have what it takes to join the Natty Nation? Like and subscribe to find out.